Well, the weather for the whole of the south of England will continue as it has for the next few weeks. It's going to be hot and moist, with temperatures rising steadily as time goes on. There's a chance of steamy moments as we move into the... sod it. We never wanted to do this. We never wanted to be weathermen and women making innuendos about hot atmospheres and drizzly countries. We didn't want to be child-friendly. We didn't want to bang on about being for over 18s only. We want to talk about our sexy adventures. We want to be lifestylers, leaping from bush to bush as we sail down the rivers of British sex clubs and mountains of crazy experiences. The cheeky purple mamba, the liquid silk pumped liberally into our hand, the rodeo classic brief harness complete with Tantus curve, the Enjoy Pure One stainless steel dildo, the hot octopus digit, the ever so short messages on Fab Swingers, the sexy friends on Twitter, and the mighty vanilla alternative. With my best girlie by my side, we'd swing, swing, swing.
Get in the gym or to your car. With our advice, you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes. And talk about our sexy dates. It's getting hard for this to rhyme. Just as well, 'cause it's bed hopping time.
Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name is Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
This is episode 103, 3 more than 100 and 102 more than 1.
I cannot even do that math if you ask me to. What, 101 more than what? 101 more than 1.
Is it not 102 more than 1?
Oh my God, you're making my brain hurt.
I don't know. The math wasn't my strong point, but anyway.
Stronger than mine.
Well, yeah. Before we jump into today's topic, we just want to say a huge thank you to lots of people who've been reaching out to check in to see if we're okay. We've been a little bit quiet over the last couple of weeks. The reason for that is that we've been dealing with something of a family crisis. Don't worry, folks, we're okay. There's been a bit of upset around the place for us, so we've just been sort of handling that and making sure that all of our loved ones are safe and sound. So that's really been our focus. So apologies if we've not been posting as many tits, as many butts.
Tits?
Yeah, you know, my tits, your
Tits and butts.
Great tits. Tits and butts.
Yeah.
That would be a great name
Tits
of a
and
swingers
butts.
club.
Tits and butts.
Tits and butts.
Yeah,
Boats
it
and hoes,
would.
tits and butts. Every time I come a court. Anyways, so we've been dealing with that. So that's why we've been a bit quiet. But we're all right. We're doing okay. Don't you go worrying about us.
Turns out people do notice when we're not around.
I know. It's like, you know, they're like, what the fuck, Mr. H? You've not posted 62
But
memes.
that was us thinking we were just getting on people's nerves. But, you know, turns out when we're absent, people are like, oh, are you all right?
I know. Most people just turn up to see tits and ass. But some people
Tits
give a
and
shit,
butts.
which is really nice. So if you've gotten in touch or if you've asked us...
Thanks
you know,
for giving
how
a
we're doing-
shit.
Yeah, thank you. We really do appreciate it. It's been
we
really
do.
helpful
Thank
over
you.
the last week or two. Thank you very much. So this episode is a sort of part 2, a continuation.
Odd Shots Part 2.
Yeah, the long game, as it were, where we've gone out and we've looked at a few more swinging in it sites.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
And so, you know, last time around we looked at a number of sites and talked about them, and we're doing more of the same
And
this
got
time round.
increasingly vexed.
Well, you know, it's fair to say that there's not one ultimate site. I think, you know, and that's a spoiler perhaps.
Well, there's probably one overarching popular site because it's big.
Yes, but to say that I'm not saying that there's not one overarching site that you should go to. I'm just saying there's not one good overall site, I guess is my thought.
Yeah. Is that the result of our scientific experiment?
Yes, of us typing into Google swinger sites and spending around about an hour and a half trudging
Looking
the
at the
internet.
28 weird stuff that come up.
Well, you wrote a list of about 28 different sites. By you, I mean Mrs. H, not the cat's mother. And although she is the cat's mother, she's like mother of cats.
I'm Noodle's mother.
Yes, you are. Although breastfeeding was probably a step too far.
God. I know her little teeth really hurt.
Yeah. This has taken a strange turn. Anyway, you've been doing some research and gone out and having a look at some of these sites and wrote a list of almost, I think it was 28, 30 or so swinging sites that are mostly focused in the UK. So if you're from somewhere other than the UK, we're really sorry. Again, this is quite UK focused, this one, but
Well,
this is where we live.
I did have some on my list that were a little more global. So I did. I did. I looked at some things like, Cassidy and SDC and some more global stuff. But obviously what we're looking at the moment is what's immediately available to us in the UK.
Well, I think what we wanted to do is cover some of the popular or on the increase of popularity or ones that have been mentioned to us recently. Cover those, get that done, and maybe we'll come back to some of those other sites that are out there. I don't think we necessarily need to do 3 of these episodes on the trot. In fact, next time around, you've got a special episode planned.
I do.
Well, that's the plan.
I need to really pull my finger out and sort it out.
Literally, pull your finger out. So next time around, we're going to be talking about lady parts. Well, Mrs. H's, you might have some guests. I might talk. Who knows?
You're probably going to talk.
Well, yeah, probably.
Who are you kidding?
Well, I might do an intro. It might just be one that you run. Anyway, the thing is if you've got any thoughts about your own lady parts, how you feel about them, are you unhappy with the way that they look? Do they work for you? All that sort of stuff. Get in touch with us.
Yeah, I'm going to put something out on the Twitterverse.
Are you?
Inviting people to get in touch with me and have a discussion.
So in the next hour or 2, I'm going to get a yell from downstairs. How do you get that thing on Twitter?
I know how to tweet. Thank you. Yes, I do.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'll tell you for why.
Please tell me for why.
I'll tell you what triggered this. We were watching Naked Attraction.
All right.
Were we not?
Naked Attraction.
Naked Attraction, which is a show where you someone goes on a date with somebody.
Listener, you go on a date.
No, so people basically choose somebody to go on a date with that they've selected on the basis of their body image. So they reveal parts of the body as they go along, and then they whittle it down to one person based purely on how they look.
Yeah, naked.
Right? Naked, correct. And then the person going on the date and choosing also gets naked after a while, and they both have a still chat about how they look naked. But what really, really, really wound us up was that the presenter consistently makes the comment that, oh, that's a neat vagina, that's a tidy vagina.
Number one, it's the wrong terminology.
Well,
it
yes,
makes me very
that
unhappy.
riled you.
Yeah.
But also, the fuck is a neat vagina, and why should that be an important factor?
And also, one of them was a penis, so it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
So that really rattled my cage again, because things do. And, it's always been an issue that I've wanted to kind of lift the lid on and explore a little bit. So...
You've always wanted to explore a little bit, to be fair.
Well, it's time to just explore it.
It's time to put your lady parts on the table and give them a good old chat.
Something about that, yes.
Yes,
Absolutely.
something like that or similar to that. Anyway, if you've got thoughts about lady parts, your own or someone else's, let us know.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about them, I guess.
And I'm, as I said, going to put something out on Twitter and invite people to get in touch with me.
Who knows how this episode is going to work, because we clearly haven't thought. It's like 2 weeks' time. This is like well into the future for us. However, we are recording now about the different sites. So let's get it on topic. Let's get this out there.
You see lots and lots of maths on that.
Well, some of them you do, some of them you don't. So the first one that we're going to talk about that was mentioned to us was Natterish. So
yes.
This is Natterish.com. That's Natterish.com. Hey, right. So this is, I think it's a single chap that's kind of created this site, and he's the sort of person behind it. And I guess it's more of a LinkedIn kind of feel, this one.
It feels like a professional networking for adult people.
Yeah, I think
right.
I think the majority of people that we've seen on there, and I've not seen a massive amount of people on there, it's about networking, it's about social media for sex workers and adult professionals, I guess. So,
yeah.
But also swingers are in there, and it's a means of kind of building connections. So if you're looking for a photographer, I guess you could go on there and do it. We signed up, so I think it's free as far as I could work out.
I could work it out.
It's a bit like LinkedIn in that sort of feel. It feels a bit corporate.
Yeah.
We spent a good couple of hours having a nose around on it, and you know what? I wasn't really sure what it is.
I feel like it might be a work in progress.
Yeah, I get that sense. This could be something nice. I think
it's a concept that's kind of there, and the bones of it are there, and I'm interested to see where it goes, because I feel like it's got a nice angle in that it's aimed at adult people, bringing like-minded people together and trying to make connections, which I quite like that.
I think I like the sort of professional connecting sex workers and all this kind of stuff that's on there, and that all feels kind of like a good thing. And it's got these sort of inspirational quotes of like Mae West popping up there. They were quite hypnotic. I mean, to be fair, it's got some functionality in that you connect with people, you can chat on there. But for us, it didn't feel like a swinging site. It felt much more of a sort of social media, LinkedIn kind of presence. So we're not going to dwell on it for too much.
No, we just wanted to cover that we had a look at it. People reached out and mentioned it. So we
the chap that runs it, I think, got in touch and he seemed like a nice fella. And it seems like a good work in progress. Jump on, have a nose, see what you think. Particularly if you do sex work or sort of OnlyFans and all this sort of stuff, it might be a good spot to meet other sort of people that are in that industry.
Yeah, I think it's
kind of get in touch with
making some connections and contacts in that kind of environment. So
yeah, exactly that. The next one that we're going to talk about is Swingpro.com, and there's a swing. I guess it's a hyphen, a dash pro.com.
Fuck knows.
Yeah,
I thought it was about golf.
It does sort of have the look of like a golf site that's been brewed from home, and this one is. I think it's a relatively new one, but I'm not 100% sure.
To me, it looks like a Google Calendar.
It does. It kind of...
It's blue and basic and doesn't really tell me what it does.
It asked us a huge list of very odd questions to create the profile. And we ran into a number of issues trying to set this up. It kind of doesn't really put our age in the right gap. So no matter what we put in, it sort of spat out something different. So it listed, I think my age is 0 and your age is
it's probably
older
accurate
than what you are. You sort of had to wait for your photo to be approved and another one to be uploaded.
One wouldn't upload.
It was like,
it was just a ball ache.
Yeah. It is not a 5-minute profile setup like it says. It lies was my main note on this one.
That was my note. Yeah. It lies.
It lies.
It's confusing. It's not clear. And I don't really understand it. But it seems to have a big focus on calendars and meets and dates and events.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there.
There's, I don't think there's that many people on there as far as I could work out. However, it's got some functionality. It's got a forum. It's got like a meets calendar. It's got sort of search facilities. It's got media and images. It's even got competitions and live stuff. So it should have lots of the stuff that you want. And I think you can upgrade it for like a tenner as a one-off, and you can have unlimited media space, unlimited cosmic power, and
unlimited calendar events.
Unlimited calendar events.
With a blue background. So, we've joined there and we've not really heard from anyone on there. We've had a nose around. There wasn't anyone that really leapt out at us, to be fair. We kind of had we've kind of gone through it over the last week or two. Picture of a month floating around, which appears to be the same person all the time.
Yeah, I
think that's because there's only like 3 people on it.
I get the sense that it's not been that updated that often. There's this image of the week, which it's definitely an image of the week. So there's there's an opportunity to do blogs, all sorts of stuff, tours, but it just feels not nice.
Oh, it's just not really got any embellishments about it at all that make you want to go back and look again.
Yeah, I mean, this, 100%, this might be your jam. I get the sense that this would be better as a sort of associated, and it might well be associated with a club that you could go on and interact with your local mates that are down the club and find out more about it. But as a standalone piece designed to sort of promote the lifestyle, it just didn't feel right.
Yeah, and the fact that it's brandishing unlimited media at me makes me feel like it's a broadband thing. It's like, okay, what's your broadband
You can
download
download
speed?
as much porn as you want. So yeah, I think, we tried to get into this and we spent a good couple of hours having a nose around. Swearing at it, trying to get the profile set up, which is a common theme, I think, in this episode. But I think the main thing that sort of sparked us on this in looking through this site was it just didn't feel like a good experience.
It's just boring.
It's just boring.
Yeah.
It's not intuitive. I would say 100% that you don't immediately know what to do, where to go and what's going on. It just presents you again with a wall of predominantly naked women. It puts your profile at the top. It just feels sad.
I like how you've road tested me signing up with these things, knowing full well that I'm literally like keyboard cat.
Yeah,
but that's important because if I can't sign up.
Well, the thing is that I've planned out of 103 episodes, probably 98. So
what her day
I know, but it's accurate. So, you need to do some research for one or two of them. So it felt like a good thing to get you to go on the sites.
Wow. I mean, wow. Okay.
Wow.
But it's important because it has to be user-friendly.
It has to be...
It's probably a good thing that you tried to get me to do it.
A complete and utter idiot needs to be able to go on.
Babe.
And I'm not saying that you are, but, it needs to be idiot-proof.
Heavily implied. But the funny thing was, in my simplistic approach to setting up things, I want something that is easy to do. And I'm not great with technology, so finding pictures and uploading them was not easy on this site. The raft of questions it asked me was frankly ridiculous.
And taking pictures on your Game Boy Color to send them in was probably a mistake, if I'm honest.
Might as well take them on a potato.
No, I know. This is,
How good this site did. So didn't get many stars from me.
Many stars from you. I think,
how many swear words? 50.
Well, there was a bit of that. And I think, looking at the different sites that we've used over the last few years, this certainly felt like one that, maybe it's in its infancy, maybe it's just been around for a while and it's never taken off. But it kind of felt like and you can tell by the amount of research that we've done here, it just didn't feel like a great experience. So if it's your thing, great. And we should say that actually, that, this might be the site for you. This might be a great thing. It might be great for your local area. But for us, there weren't many people on it. There wasn't all sorts of stuff going on. So, for us, we kind of went...
For that reason, I'm out.
Yeah, for that. Oh, you can do
Oh, okay. Yes, I can do that. I can do a Dragon's Den impression, but I'm not doing a Beatles impression.
Okay, fine. Well, we'll see about that.
What if that was vaguely Paul McCartney-ish?
I know, right?
You
Vaguely.
just slipped into that.
I just slipped into Paul McCartney.
Interesting fact about Mr. H, right? Whenever he sings a song that comes on the radio or comes on a playlist, or I don't know why there's so much coming involved, but whenever a song arrives, it's even worse. When he arrives to a song, anyway, if a song is playing, he automatically adopts the voice of the person who's singing it.
I've never found my voice. My voice is always
somebody else's.
Yeah, I know. Which says a lot about me as a person. I'm just a vacuous space of nothingness filled in by other personalities.
You're just really talented at adopting other people's voices. You can do a Green Day voice really well. You can do a Gomez voice.
That's very, very specific, like that one band from 93.
You can do a Reef voice. You can do a McCartney
Let's
voice.
not forget Blur voice. That's won me many a Sing Star competition.
Britpop voice is great.
Britpop voice is amazing.
You've got a Spandau Ballet voice.
Do I? I don't think
I do.
A little bit,
yeah.
I don't, because I don't
you
really...
slip into 80s voice quite naturally if you have to.
No, I do 90s voice, which is like better than 80s voice.
Oh, okay. Well, it depends what era you're from. Anyway, fascinating fact there for you pop pickers. So he does this. He just emulates the voice that he's listening to.
Yes, this is my real voice, apparently. Now I feel really self-conscious.
No, it's talent.
I wouldn't go that far. Anyways, let's move on to the next site. The next site that we've picked to have a look at is virtualswingin, and that's virtual.
Like you've got a cold, swinging.
Yeah, it does sound a bit swinging.
Because you've got no G on the end.
Yeah, I got no G. You ain't no G. So this is called virtualswingin with no G at the end.com. And it's run by or powered by BoobDoob.
Is that how you pronounce it? I've been calling it BoobTube.
BoobDoob.
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 BoobDoob. Is it a palindrome? I can't quite work it out. I haven't seen it written down.
I've had one glass of wine. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Maybe it's a palindrome. Maybe that's what they're trying to get at is BoobDoob.
Is it YouTube? Boobs? I don't know.
Anyway. I want to say BoobTube.
So this is really closely associated with a number of clubs that are in the UK and also in the US. And when COVID hit, they moved to this platform to keep sort of virtual swinging. There we go. See the title of that?
See, that's right. You just lapsed
It's like
into
when
that.
someone says the title of a movie within the movie. So they've created or joined this virtual swinging site in an attempt to keep parties going, to to keep generating some
Which
revenue.
is a great idea,
it's
by the
a
way.
fantastic idea. I love it.
The concept's brilliant.
Yeah, really good idea. And I believe you need to sign up for the site in order to access their sort of virtual parties.
Yes.
Now, I believe, because we've not attended one that didn't sound like our cup of tea, they kind of they start in the UK at whatever o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening, and they go on all the way through the night as the different sort of time zones come on. So as the US wakes up, the East Coast, West Coast, whatever, then they also get added to the party as their time comes on. So people from the UK that have been mad for it, as it were, they've gone all night chatting to people that are all over the world through the power of the site.
Pull a virtual all-nighter.
Yeah, you can
Through the power of virtual swinging.
with people that you may or may not ever meet, which is fantastic.
Again, it's a really good idea.
Yeah, great idea. Love it. So we signed up for this site now. We were offered a sort of paid version of this site, but we decided that we wanted to pay to be honest and open about it.
Yeah, totally.
So we put our hands in our very short pockets and chuck some money at the thing.
Yeah.
So
we wanted to give it a good look around, the experience that someone would pay for.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I haven't done, perhaps rather foolishly, is written down how much it is to do all of that. So,
how many clams is it?
9 clams. I don't know.
Some clams.
I don't know how much it was. I
Let's have a
forgot.
look.
I know that we're a member, and I know that we
Wow.
paid for it.
I think we looked at it and didn't think it was particularly cost prohibitive.
Yeah, I didn't. It didn't.
It wasn't like oh my God, we're not paying
Here
that.
we go.
Hey, got it.
1 month membership renews upon expiry was $5.99.
Yeah.
And 3 month membership is $15.99, and 6 months $29.99, and 12 months is $54.99. That's in pounds, so just in case you're wondering. So we thought we'd sign up for this site, give it a go, have a look, and see how it worked as an actual swinging site. As we said, it's powered by this boo doob thing.
It is a palindrome. Now I'm looking at it.
Oh, good. I'm glad that it is, which is fantastic news.
I still don't really know what it means.
Ultimately, when you're signing up for a swinging site, the first thing you need to know, is it a palindrome?
Yes. And this one is.
This is why we signed up for Taco Cat 8 times.
Big tick in the box for does it fulfill your palindrome
Yes, and also
requirements?
racecar.com. We signed up for that because also it's a palindrome. So all of these things.
Wait, how do you know about my subscription to Taco Cat?
Because you're wearing your Taco Cat t-shirt.
You need my taco out of it.
Taco the clones.
Oh my God.
Exactly. So we had a look at this one. We went on we started on a Thursday night, and when we went online, there were 37 people in the UK or near us.
I remember this one.
Remember me.
Yes, I do remember why this one rings a bell.
Well,
but I'll let you carry on.
Yeah. Well, I was going to get to that because we amazingly, I've written some notes, and for the first time ever, Mrs. H is able to see the notes in front of her. So what she's doing is jumping all of the notes that I've made.
I'm not giving any spoilers away.
No, just reading the notes and coming across that you've done some
notes.
actual research for a change. So, setting the profile up was relatively painless, which is good. It, as a site, it looks okay. It's a little bit of that, when you go to if you have done a swinging club, and typically I'm talking about the ones in the US, but, the UK's same. And they have those sort of jazzy posters with loads of fucking neon and Photoshop things on top of them, like maybe a sort of rap album that you might see Louis Theroux talking about on a documentary.
This is oddly specific.
Very specific reference that I've got in my head. Maybe it's specific for you, but maybe not. But it has that sort of Photoshopped neon backgroundy kind of vibe
It kind of reminds me of like a neon diner sign or a sign in the ladies' loo
it's like
in
a
a
strip
nightclub.
Club online. The look of it is to me. It doesn't feel bad, but at the same time, it doesn't.
Fine.
It's not like a nice, wholesome. It's not like an Apple product, is it? Let's be honest.
Good Lord, honestly.
But it's important to describe some of these things
If Apple designed swinging signs.
Yeah, it would be easy because I could just use my iPhone and I'd be fine. So, it's got all the stuff across the top. So you've got kind of like all about your account. It's got site rules. It's got club information. And because it's really closely linked with the clubs, it's got lots of information where you can click on clubs and find out all about the other places there. It's also got I think it's got podcast producers and all this sort of stuff.
It's got a plethora of information, I will say that.
Yes.
It's really informative and there's tons of info on there, almost too much in a way. You're kind of like scrolling through, like looking and like, oh my God, there's more categories, there's chats, there's photos.
There's events, there's booty calls where it's about sort of, setting up meetings, all that kind of thing, photos. It's actually got a lot of stuff to it, and most of it sort of works okay.
Yep. It's got a little news feed down the side. So
now the trick is with any site is that it needs numbers. So when we did log in, as I said, there was only sort of 30, 40 odd people online. Now it does have an extended cast of thousands, but many of those people aren't in the UK, or I can only assume, because there's never been thousands when I've been, sort of online. So I'm just literally clicking online now. 22 people online, including us. So,
And it's a Friday night in the UK.
Yeah.
It's, sort of early evening.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's halfway through the evening. So you'd think, actually, given that things have opened up a little bit in the UK as well now, there would be a bit more for presents, but...
Oh, are we getting presents?
Yeah, presents for the reopening of the UK.
Of the UK. Well, so anyways... There's loads of different things on there. I think there's lots of parties being advertised, there's lots of the virtual events, there's very club focused, but again, it puts you in touch with the people that are running the clubs. So I think if you're interested in doing the online events, or if you're interested in connecting with the clubs, it might be something that works for you, particularly if you're close to somewhere like Purple Mamba or Townhouse or wherever, or Le Boudoir or wherever. I'm not sure all of them are associated with this, but it's probably a good place to go and sort of connect with those sorts of places and the people that might go.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
But beyond that, it kind of felt like it wasn't necessary in a way, because there's other sites and other more popular sites. So, not bad. It's okay. It's got some nice functionality and there's some nice stuff you can do on it. And fair play for the virtual events, but it wouldn't be a site that I think that we would go back to time and again.
No, I would agree.
Yeah.
So is there something else on there that you wanted to cover?
Yes. There is one more thing that I found slightly troubling.
And at first we were quite excited by the function.
Yeah. So looking through many of these sites, many of them don't actually have a sort of location search. So, you can't put your postcode in and say, I want to meet people that are 50 miles from here or whatever it is. So, so you get a sense of who's around. Whereas this one, you actually put your details in and search, and it comes up with people's exact location pretty much, as far as we could tell. So, there were another couple of couples in our hometown in Southampton, and literally they would 3 minutes down the road.
But we were able to zoom in and look at their street.
Yes, we were able to almost identify which house they were in and which street they were in. Now, that might not be exactly right, given the fact that it's all done, I assume, on postcode, but it was a little bit worrying that other people could find you. Now, granted, you're all on there for the same reason. It's all, and it all should be honest and open and good and all that sort of stuff. But it did feel as though someone could use that for nefarious reasons.
I agree. I was a bit shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness, you can actually look at their street.
Yeah.
Is that right?
You can literally search through all of the UK, and depending on the information that you've put in, I mean, obviously, if you've not put your postcode in, it's not going to track you on that, I assume, unless it's doing it on some sort of...
We put the postcode in as part of the sign-up process.
Yes.
Correct. Not really thinking at the time that was going to be used in a search functionality,
or
maybe.
An exact functionality. So, for example, on Fab Swingers, which is the site that we tend to use at the moment, you can put your postcode in as to where you are, or roughly where you are, and you do a search, and it tells you that people are however many miles away.
Yes, but it doesn't, declare what postcode area you're in. It just gives you a rough, using your GPS location, blah blah blah. This is roughly where people are.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, you don't get to click on the Google Street calendar view or whatever it is and rock up outside their house. But this, I think, does do that if you've put that information in. So our advice would be, if you're going through that, just be really mindful, especially if privacy is something that's really important to you. Be careful what you put on there. And in fact, any site, because you don't know how it's going to be used and where it's going to be revealed.
Right.
So that was that site. Honestly, I kind of thought it was all right. It was one of the better ones that we've seen. It doesn't have the volume.
Just doesn't have the numbers.
And I'm not sure that it could cope with the volume, if I'm honest. The way that you can look at see who's online, if you had to scroll through 90 pages of who was online, it would be a bit. But at the same point, it kind of, the interface was good enough, and it was simple enough to navigate. And I liked all the virtual parties that they've been running. I don't like the parties myself, but I like the fact that they're doing it.
And from a looks perspective, I quite like the look of the site. It looks quite nice. Doesn't look like the weird broadband download speed one.
No, it doesn't look, I think it
just looks
better.
a bit nicer.
It still looks like you're inside a strip club, but hey, that might be your vibe. So, let's take that for what it is. Now, the last site that we're going to talk about today is one that we've been asked again and again and again and again and again to go and have a look at. People have told us that we need to check it out. People have told us that it would be, our site, that if we once we go on there and discover it, we definitely go back. But we have a little bit of a history with it, I suppose. So Killing Kittens is the last site that we're going to talk about. And Killing Kittens, for us, has always been a bit of an enigma, I suppose. And I tell you for why. So going back a couple of years, before the dark times, Killing Kittens was very much a party sort of driven thing that had, it had like a sort of website and a user thing, but it was very much associated with not only London, the sort of central UK kind of point, capital and all that sort of nonsense, but also it had a kind of vibe of you needed to be young and attractive to sign up.
So a little bit of a kind of elitist criteria, maybe, that made you wary of signing up just in case you were rejected on the basis that you're too old and you ugly.
Yeah, and I can't quite remember if it was one of those places where we had to submit a picture of us to prove how attractive or not we were. I know that we had to do that for Le Boudoir.
We had to do it for a party at Vanilla Alternative. It's a chic party. We had to do it for that.
Yeah.
So some certain party providers might want a certain age demographic to attend their parties. And I think Killing Kittens kind of fell into that category of, you need to be this level of, attractive or this age bracket to kind of get past our criteria of joining.
Yeah.
And actually other people have said similar things to us, that was their impression.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, that was the vibe it kind of gave you, that there was no point applying if you weren't going to kind of get through that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely something that was on my mind with Killing Kittens, and it felt very much London, beautiful young people, and them hosting parties. And I knew that it was a global sort of organisation, and I know that over the last couple of years they kind of floated their thing on the stock market or let people invest in the thing, and that it had been growing since that point. So a number of people had said to us, we've got to go on, we've got to try it. And we had set up an account ages ago and just literally chucked something on there to have a bit of a nose around and forgotten about it. So we went back to it and started trying to set up, and trying to set up a proper account on there.
It's been laborious, hasn't it?
Honestly, the words ball and ache, I cannot even, that's an understatement. So we firstly getting verified. So we set up your account, and it is very, very heavily women focused, rightly or wrongly. That's his thing. And I'll come on to that. But the first major hurdle was around getting verified. And it says you need to, if you want your photo verified, to just so you can explore the site a little bit more and get a bit more into this stuff, you need to send a picture and copy a gesture.
Gesture.
Whichever one you like.
But it gives you an example picture of what you need to do. So you need to copy this gesture of this person holding a piece of paper up with hashtag whatever, their username and Killing Kittens.
But it's
not very clear.
No. So it was just literally, imagine a woman holding a bit of paper with a username on it and a hashtag, and it says copy that.
So we did.
So does that mean, right? So there's two of us, right? Okay. So do we both hold the paper
together?
Do we individually hold the paper? Do we need to write our usernames, or do we write her usernames because we're copying what she's doing? Honestly, it became an absolute fucking nightmare. And we must have submitted about 7 different fucking pictures.
They kept getting rejected.
And they kept getting rejected. And they, they don't give you any advice on why it's rejected. It's just, no. Computer says no.
It's like submitting a passport photo.
It is.
Like, you're smiling too much in this one.
So
Eventually I did Google it and found some guidance, and it would have been helpful, I think, if they'd submitted that guidance along with the verification process rather than having to Google it or look on the FAQs at length to find it.
100%. That would have been helpful. Honestly, I get why they're doing this, and that they need a level of security. And one of the things that Killing Kittens is very, very good at is making the environment secure and making sure that there are no fakes. I'm sure there are some, but
they've got more hoops to jump through, haven't they? Definitely.
And I'm sure if you're just trying to submit a fucking picture and you can't do it, then you'll probably give up at the first hurdle, let alone getting into the actual thing and using it.
You shouldn't have had your wang out in the picture.
Probably shouldn't have. But anyway, so you kind of get through.
Yeah.
And then you do. And then you you want to go to the forums. You want to have a chat. No, you have to apply to go in the fucking forum.
So you have to be approved to join the chat.
And if you go into a forum that's similar, then they'll reject your application. So...
Yeah, it's very prohibitive again. The other thing we found, which was very odd, was to join a chat as a couple. Let me come back to this. Let me come back to this. I'm not done with this. You're not
done with it. I'm still annoyed about
Go on, Peter Griffin. What really grinds your gear?
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, it was like trying to get into the forum just so you can find out more information.
Yeah.
And you had to apply to do it. You couldn't just join a group. And then there's groups for separate people. So there's groups for the old people, which we fall into.
Silvers.
There's groups for the young people. There's groups just for the men. And there's 42,000 groups for women.
The kittens.
And all this sort of stuff.
Groups for the toms.
Groups for the toms. Now, there's also a lot of educational stuff on there, which I think is fucking fantastic.
Oh, it's brilliant.
There's so much knowledge and sharing. That's great. The forums, I couldn't tell you because I couldn't get into one. Like literally couldn't get into one. So for that reason, I don't like that part of it. The second part is when we made a connection on there, because we put out on Twitter that we were going to be going and joining Killing Kittens, and a number of people got in touch and said, oh, we're on that site. We absolutely adore it. It's our favourite site ever. We'll send you a thing. They send us a thing. We can't chat because we don't have a split account. Now, straight away, it says, okay, if you want to join the forum or if you want to have a conversation with any old fucker, it probably doesn't use that language, it's probably much nicer, you need to split your account. And I'm like,
what does that mean?
So
and why?
Effectively, what it's really doing is splitting you into two different people so you can have separate chats, which worries me that can happen. But also that you kind of have these different bits there.
So you've got to have two separate logins.
Logins.
We had to create a second login for me to join.
No. We didn't. No.
Oh, no.
Because it's Killing Kittens. Automatically, you're a kitten, so you get an account that's the regular account, and then I have to create a split part of the account that I can log on and join the chats with.
It sounds like you split your soul like a Horcrux.
I did feel a little bit that was all right. No, I absolutely adore that it lets you sort of identify who you're talking to. That's really important.
Yeah, but layers of protection in there is useful. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's great to know that I'm speaking to the wife or the husband. But ultimately, the way that it's done, it makes you feel like it's like it's doing its very best to split you up as part of that journey. I also, and I am very much for equality. And if you've heard this show before, you'll know how strongly I feel about everyone having an equal share. It's so heavily focused on women that I just feel like I have no place there.
I think it is quite, it's got a heavy influence on the woman has the power kind of thing. And the toms are kept at bay a little bit, aren't they? Yeah,
and I get that there's reasons for security and there's reasons for making sure everyone is safe. I 100% agree with that. But to the extent to which it's done and the way in which it's done, it felt.
Does it make you feel a bit second place?
Yeah, it did. And as a privileged white single male, middle-aged.
I'm amazed you tolerated it at all and stayed in it.
I'm coming from a place of privilege, and I know that, there are far worse things out there to go through. It just felt like it was doing its very best to sort of, to separate us and check that you were okay. Like it was like, oh, there you go, Mrs. H, there's your side of the things. You've got the main account. Mr. H, he can chat if he really wants to.
He can doss around in the background.
It's like giving me the kids' toys to play with, like in The Simpsons, like Maggie's got that false steering wheel. It was like giving me one of those fucking things. So, that's how it felt.
Like when you gave me a fake steering wheel in Singapore.
Yeah, exactly. Like when we went to Singapore and we went on a cycle bike thing, that there was like a little
I couldn't be trusted
bike.
to steer.
Yeah, Kate from Wanderlust and I couldn't trust Mrs. H to steer, so we gave you the fake steering wheel.
I'm inherently grateful for that because it looked horrible.
Yeah, which also meant that you didn't have to cycle anywhere,
Amazing.
which is, fine, I suppose. So, what I do like about it though is it gives you an app that lets you do all the chatting in a separate app. Now, I wish the whole fucking site was on that app because that would make much more sense. But no, it's a chatting app. But equally, I think that chatting app does work really well. It kind of gives you a sense of who's who, what's going on. It lets you do all the stuff on there that you would normally do, all through Killing Kittens.
Yeah.
So I think, as a view on that, I really liked it. And it was, what I will say about the site is it looks lovely. The setup is great.
It's aesthetically pleasing, I would agree. It looks polished. It looks very professional. It's slick. It's really nice to look at.
Why, it's greased lightning! Is it high dramatic?
No, it feels really grown up.
It feels...
It's not trying to like win you over with flashy, crappy, crass kind of neon and,
it
sex
feels
sells.
sexy in the way that Apple can be sexy.
Yeah.
Like,
it's grown up sexy.
Yeah, grown up sexy. But it feels very adult. What I will say, though, is that you don't, if sexy pics or naughty pics are your thing, this ain't the place for you in terms of posting that, because they will take down all sorts of pictures. A picture of just us, our pants, and the gremlin was taken down. So, and there's no naked butts, no naked boobs. So
and the gremlin was naked.
The gremlin was naked and it had a cigar. So maybe it was the smoking that did it. I don't know. But they are very particular on the pictures. They're very hot on it. It's very highly moderated. I think that's a good thing. I think there is probably some learning to the rules and some experience that we need to go through. But equally, if you're not used to that, it's going to piss you right off.
Yeah, it's vastly different from the kind of swinging world of just, there's some fannies and there's a dick pic.
It was very, very nice to go onto a site and go, that's a couple. That's a person.
Was really nice,
rather than the the clungerific sort of 1 inch from the camera view or the cockpit and all that sort of stuff.
I really do agree that it looks really nice.
Yeah, it does.
And it made a difference to actually just see nice images rather than, as you say, the dick picture.
The other thing I do want to say though that about Killing Kittens is that the people that love it really fucking love it, and it's a little bit like a cult. It's a bit like the cult of Apple, and the people that really like it have been in touch, that we know, and they've been sort of
they're exuberant about it.
They absolutely adore it.
Bloody brilliant.
And I guess if it's your main experience of a swinging site, actually it's a pretty good experience. Because you probably haven't gone through other things and you kind of, it guides you through, it kind of gives you lots of educational stuff. It's very protected. It's a very safe, secure environment. What it doesn't have are the numbers.
Do we know how many people are on there?
Well, I kind of had a look. I don't know how many people are in total. I don't think it tells you that. It does have more people than some of the other sites that we've looked at. I mean, certainly more than the other 3 that we've mentioned today.
And it does seem quite big, quite well established.
Yeah.
It's definitely big, isn't it? It has got some populace.
As a sort of sweeping statement, I think there were 2 or 3 in our own town. Probably in the nearest 50 miles, there was probably another 20 or so. So there has a number, but it's not massive.
Yeah.
Equally, what I will say, though, is that looking at the pictures, and maybe it's because face pictures are actively encouraged and it's a very secure place and it's a very good environment, people look a lot more attractive. But I mean, now generally, the people that we've seen on the site have been on the sort of on the whole much more attractive than the people that we've immediately seen on Fab.
That's because on Fab you just see the whole.
Yeah, maybe. and it might be the way that it's presented. It might be the surrounding. Like, it might be a shitty meal, but it might be presented beautifully.
I think it is a nice looking site, and I think the people who are on it are probably
they have cool whip.
The people who are on it are probably very attractive as well.
Yeah, I think there is an element of of a younger crowd, without doubt. And then there is an element of a slightly more attractive crowd.
It feels a little elitist.
There is.
But I understand why it kind of rears its head above the parapet and looks a bit like that.
So if you're the kind of person that shops at Marks and Spencer's and Waitrose as a minimum, but it does feel a little bit like a slightly more upmarket.
Do you have that leftover foie gras in your fridge at weekends? Then this is the site for you.
Is Prosecco just not enough?
Do you have Nigel Slater recipes at your fingertips?
Do you have Nigel Slater at your fingertips? If so, then Killing Kittens might just be for you.
Leftover champagne? Not a problem.
Now, the other thing that I have heard gripes about is the name Killing Kittens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it.
I like it.
Yeah, it's fine. Well, you like it because it has the word kitten in it, and I like it because it had the word killing kitten in it.
Wait a minute. Does Noodle need to block her ears?
Noodle needs to shut the fuck up.
Wow.
Anyways, the other thing that I was going to mention was that this one is £6.79 a month if you do 12 months, but other sort of smaller sort of amounts are possible.
I don't think that's huge. I would happily pay that because it feels like you're getting some decent quality bang for your buck.
Well, I think the important thing is that does give you sort of access to the tickets to the parties, whether you have to pay for them or not, I'm not sure. But it also gives you access to the forums eventually. Also, the educational stuff that they do. There's loads of videos on there. Was a great video about pegging, or great series of videos about that. All that sort of stuff is in there. So I quite like it. Now, I think I'm in two minds about Killing Kittens. One, it sort of feels great. But the other thing is, though, it just doesn't have the total amount of numbers. Mm-hmm. So I think your strategy, you can do whatever you like, frankly, because, I'm not running your life for you. But a good strategy might be to do something like Fab and Killing Kittens.
Yeah, I think it's probably good to have them both concurrently running to see you've got quite a lot of options. If you fancy just perusing vast numbers of people, then Fab is there. Because it arguably has a huge populace.
It does.
Killing Kittens, you're not going to get anywhere near as many people online, but you are going to get really awesome quality. So
well, one assumes. We've not met anyone from that, but we have interacted with a number of people.
We've interacted with some
Killing
lovely
Kittens.
people so far on there. I will say that, which has filled me with confidence. I quite like it.
I'm going to fill you with some confidence later on.
Oh, my goodness. What a treat. No, I think it's a really decent site. I would like to probably keep it going, if not simply because the arduous sign-up process would. I'm
not letting that go. Yeah,
don't want to throw a towel in so soon.
I've invested too much time now. This is like
exactly that.
Been
I want to see what it's got to offer once we're kind of fully out of these COVID times, because we are obviously coming to slightly better times because June everything lifts completely in the UK allegedly. So I'd like to see kind of what more you can kind of find when more and more people are out and about. Yeah. Maybe. Because at the moment, it is very much, people are still tentatively putting their feelers out about, do we meet people, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think we'll keep it going for the time being. So please get in touch if you're on Killing Kittens and want to say hello to us. I think if you're not, I'd say give it a look, sign up and see what you think.
Yeah, if you can, good luck.
Yeah, if you can get through the doors, fantastic. I think there's some great resources on there. And I think of all these sites outside of Fab, this would be the one that I would point people to, particularly if you're in London or if you're heading that way, or if you go into other cities around the world where they have a sort of base of operation. I would definitely check it out. I think there is, you need to be mindful that the numbers aren't going to be there. So if you're used to Fab, you're probably not going to see, the same amount of people, but you'll probably see some different accounts, I would say.
And if you can get through the approval process to join the chats, there are quite a lot of interesting ones. So there's like a filthy chat, a kinky chat. There's some quite specific
chicken chat.
Chicken chat. I love chicken chat.
There's a biryani.
Lovely. So there's quite a few different categories there that you can hopefully, if you join the chat and get approval, I think it is a fairly easy process once they look at it. I don't think it's designed to kind of say, no, you can't join. They just want to moderate who joins it.
Yeah.
But they look quite interesting. And I like, I do like the imagery and the kind of look and feel of the whole thing. And they're quite heavily present on Instagram, and they put a lot out there to kind of, encourage people to join the educational things, like you say, which is, again, really encouraging that people are, looking at it for things other than just having sex.
I think what I like is that if you were to talk about ethical non-monogamy to someone who's not involved in that, to a vanilla person, a mug or whatever you like, I think Killing Kittens is probably a site that you'd be proud to show them. And for that reason, I think it's a really positive thing. I think...
I agree, actually.
If you were to sort of say, hey, this is what we do, and then go, oh, but this is fab, it's almost laughable. Whereas if you were to go, oh, but here's the site that we go to, it's called Killing Kittens, this is where we meet other people, I don't think you'd be embarrassed to show them that. I think you'd feel confident that you're actually showing them something that's quite quality. So, for that reason, I'm in. I think it's a good thing.
The equivalent of being with Apple or GIF-gaff?
Yeah, maybe. GIF-gaff. Yeah, you two can have
your provider, GIF-gaff. Really?
Maybe.
No, it's Apple, honestly.
Apple aren't a provider. They just do the...
Well, you know what I mean.
My human cyborg relations.
You know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. So on that note, I think we're going to wrap this up. So, overall, I'm going to try and summarize the site. So there was Natterish, which was very much a LinkedIn for sex workers and professionals.
Very corporate.
Yeah, very corporate feeling, but actually might be something that's useful for you if you've got, a stake in some of those things. There was Swingpro, which I didn't like.
Good for looking at broadband speed.
Oh, for God's sakes. There was virtualswingin, which I think linked to the clubs that are associated with it is probably an interesting one to check out. And maybe check out the free stuff and see what you think. And if you're intending on going into any of the parties, give it a shot.
And it's a must for palindrome lovers.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
And for Killing Kittens, I would say, this is probably a pretty good site. If you're looking, especially in the London area, or looking to go to parties, I'd definitely sign up. If you're curious about it, give it a go. I would say that you don't expect the numbers, but that actually it's a pretty good place and it feels really nice. So it may even just be worth signing up, just so when you finally tell your mates that you're doing swinging or whatever it is that you're doing, you can go, this is the site that I sign up for, even if you're really using Fab in the background.
Top end.
Nice. Not half, mate.
And Fab, obviously, is just out there anyway. And we've talked about Fab multiple times all the way through all of our podcasts, because
what is it with you and Fab? Like, you can't help but mention it. I can't
help but mention it because it's kind of always there. It's just
Is it like
everywhere.
the truck from Duel?
Yeah.
Always following us.
It's always following us. Yeah, I would just say we're not reviewing Fab because we've talked about it enough. But I'm just saying Fab still remains fairly large.
Well, I think Fab remains the most popular platform in the UK, predominantly because of it's low cost and it has the numbers. And to be fair, it has much of the functionality. What it doesn't have is great admin. And I think we've kind of beaten that horse to death.
Yeah.
And if we could get Fab on the show and ask them about it, we'd love to. But, the reality is that I don't think they even like replying to admins, let alone us. So, screw those guys. But we'll still keep using it. Mrs. H, do you want to do your thing and round this delightful episode up?
I do.
All right, then. Don't do it yet. Now you can do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, all right, then go for it. Do it.
All right. Well,
thank you for hopping to our bed.
Oh, my God. You absolute shit.
No, you can do it.
Well, you've done it.
No, I have not really.
You have.
Go on.
You did it really like a simple-minded horse.
Wow, thank you for hopping into
You've sullied it now. I don't want any part of your disgusting tagline.
Go on, tagline.
No,
tag this shit out of me. Oh, give me that branding, wife. Give me that branding. Go on. Oh.
I can't. I literally can't now. You've made it weird.
Well, thank you for hopping into my bed.
Oh my God.
Well, thank you for hopping into my bed.
See, there's Paul McCartney. You wouldn't want to hop into bed with Paul McCartney.
No.
Or Ringo in his train.
You get a vegan Greg's roll out, you'll be fine.
Should we do it properly?
You should.
All right. Well, thank you for hopping into our bed. quiet version of the Beatles with no shouting and
Like
no
what?
haze.
What would the Beatles sound like if you were doing them?
Or it'd be a really gentle one, like, here comes the sun. Du-du-du-du. Really nice and gentle with no haze.
But that's just you singing
Where's
the
the song
Beatles,
from the
not
Beatles?
doing an impression of the Beatles.
Oh, I don't want to do an impression of them. Were you coughing? And I don't want to relive any of the Rocky Raccoons and the Number Nines.
Rocky Raccoon.
And any reference to
into
doing it in the road.
What? That's a classic.
No, it's ridiculous.
Why don't we do it in the road?
Do it?
Yeah. That's
Is there a do?
Yeah, there's a do. It's
it?
like My Generation. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Something like that anyway. But
Well, let's stick to just the gentle, where's the sun?
you're
Sorry, here
listening
comes the
to
sun.
the smooth sounds of the Beatles.
They're not really smooth, are they?
What they are?
Why is my microphone so high? Is it supposed to be that high?
It's the same height it's always been. You cannot move the microphone up or down.
I know. Maybe I've just shrunk a bit.
Oh, good grief. Normally you're sat up like this. Stop listening out for the cat. I know that's what you're doing.
I'm not. I think she's sleeping.
All right, if you're sitting comfortably, we can begin.